So, guys, how have the three of you been during this lockdown, and how are you missing Keys Park?
It's been a hard one. I think obviously with everyone, I think everyone's struggled a little bit. But it's like we've been saying to the lads and Deeks and judges, like all you can do is control what you can. So just control the controllables. Try and be as positive as possible. But missing it massively, especially when obviously I go down there most days and work from the ground. It's just can't wait to be back. Yeah.
Just missing being around the boys as well, aren't we? Like that camaraderie that you have with the lads and a bit of banter and getting out the house as well, especially like trying to, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 3 times a week, probably see the lads more. You know, some lads see their missus or family, so it's a massive miss, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think for me as well, it's just a routine, very structured and routine. You train on your Tuesday and Thursday, and the excitement and the buzz of going into a game down a Saturday or a Tuesday night. So yeah, missing it loads, to be fair.
So, Jemiah, welcome to the club. So how did you come about coming join Hednesford, and can you tell us a little bit about your background in football?
Background wise, I played from when I was probably like 16, 17. Kind of made my breakthrough at Stafford Rangers. I know it's probably the poison word at Hednesford. I know the vile. Let's not. I'm just gonna skip past it. But when they were in the conference and played from like 18, 19, did quite well there. Really enjoyed my time. And then when I played at Worcester City, I was at Worcester City for a little bit, but then like settled at Bromsgrove, and it's where I met Deeksy, and obviously me and Keenen are family, but we all played there together, and that's I really enjoyed my time with Bromsgrove and learnt a lot, and I've probably been around the non-league scene for quite a long time, really. After a little bit, decided that I wanted to kind of pursue the concept of coaching. I'm a qualified physio as well, so I started from a physio concept, and then while at Waterwood, down by for giving me the opportunity potentially to come in as a coach, which I took. We did really well that season. Went from there to Alvechurch, followed them to Alvechurch. Things didn't work out at Alvechurch, and then I went to Racing Club Warwick, where I learned a hell of a lot. And obviously, when the opportunity came about, we spoke, me, Keenen and Deeks, about what they were looking for and what kind of things they needed. I thought I could bring something to the table, and just kind of went from there, really. I've loved every minute of being in. I've been watching games beforehand. It's a humongous club. As I say, I remember from my days at Stafford how massive the club and how massive that derby used to be. And you look at some of the games that you can see. When I look at things like FC United and when we played them, and look at that stadium, it's not a step-free club. It should be much higher. So hopefully we can. And the aim is to push as high as possible.
So, Keenen and Deeks, what qualities does Jemiah bring to the team?
Go on, Deeks. Can I?
For me, I think when we coaching and we working in groups, first and foremost, he was a good defender when he played. So when we do small groups in training and stuff like that, it's good to have a defensive coach there working with the defenders, and on that side of the game, his personality as well. He's a big character, and he's good to have around the place. He's got a lot of contacts in non-league football, and another thing that me and Keenen have said is the trusting as well, where I've known him for probably 12, 13 years and become close friends with him. Obviously, his family with Keenan's cousin. So trust again in a tight-knit group. He brings that. And listen, we refer to him as Big Nasty, so I'm sure that the big nasty
that name, mate.
Listen, as a character and the personality he's got, he's been brilliant since he come in, and that was one of the reasons that we looked at bringing him in. And like I say, he knows the game. We trust him, and a big character around the place as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Deeks is kind of like said it all, and he buys into the values and what we're about. So it's like the people that come into the club have to be the right character, and Jemiah can kind of do a bit of everything. Obviously, with his physio, he's obviously a great physio as well, along with obviously his coaching and analysing a lot of teams for us. That to me is like a key point to our team, like where Jemiah will go and watch videos on other teams and stuff like that. So yeah.
So moving on to first team matters, what plans have been in place to make sure the lads are being keeping fit?
So we've kind of like, for being honest, mate, is let them, because obviously we went in December, we worked quite hard in December, ready to go in January, and then obviously for it to then be like, right, it's not going to happen. We've kind of said, you know what, just go out for a few weeks and just relax, just enjoy life, take a bit of time away from football. And we've been doing obviously a lot of calls to the lads this week, so we phoned them individually to see how they are, because their health and well-being is massive. So for us, we need to make sure that they're mentally fine. So and speaking away from football, do you know what I mean? It's not always football. So just seeing how their family life is and how their work is. So we've been engaging the lads from that sense, really.
So you haven't done any sort of like Zoom calls with them like we're doing?
Not yet, but we will be probably in the next 2 weeks. We'll all obviously have a little Zoom chat, a little quiz night, have a little bit of banter, and just keep the group as close as we can, because it's difficult, isn't it? So yeah.
I think it's been difficult, Dan, really, in terms of knowing where we're at and having an announcement off the league and trying to put plans in place. But as Keith said, the most important thing is the well-being and the health and the safety of the lads and making sure that they're okay. And like Keith said, not just in terms of football, but in their general life as well, and their families and stuff. So we've been in constant contact with them and making sure that they're all okay. And we're here if they need us, and we can support them in any way.
So recently Lewis joined us. So where do you see him fitting into our team?
So Lewis is one that obviously Deeks knows very well, and he's been on our radar for a while. And Deeks, probably since we've come in, to be fair, Lewis is a very, very good centre half. Young, he's quick, he's strong, he can head, he can play, he can throw it. Sorry about that. It was a potatoes. So he can do a bit of everything. So yeah, he'll come in as a centre half, obviously, and he'll be a good addition, because again, he's a great character as well. So it's having the right people in and around the club. So he's a massive one that obviously Deeks has been very influential in.
I think me knowing him as well, and like we said, he's getting the right type of character into the club, and Lewis is one that he loves his football. He's determined. He had a bad injury, but he was at Bristol Rovers, and for whatnot, he wants to try and improve and get back into the league if he can. And he feels that we're the right type of club and what we're trying to do in and around the dressing room and stuff like that, and how professional it is that he wanted to be part of it. So although we're undecided on whether the season will start or whether it won't, he's one that, regardless of when we do start back, that he'll be with us, which is why we made the move, even though the season's been put on hold.
Yeah,
I think he brings from a defender's point of view, he brings massive competition. I think competition breeds success. Between the squad, they've got to understand and know that it's going to be a squad that pushes on and does really well. It's not going to be individuals, and I think there's times we've looked at it and potentially that's an area where we've looked at and think, okay, we needed to strengthen and needed numbers to make sure we had options. And I think I spoke to Lewis a couple of days ago, and getting to know Lewis, he, like instantly, you can feel his energy. He's a really, really good lad. I've watched him play, obviously, when I was at Racing Club, and I think he's got great pedigree. I think there's nothing he can't do as a centre half. And it's about him wants to keep progressing, keep learning. When you speak to him, he's massive on professionalism and doing things the right way. And he's gone off and watched our games. He's telling me about games that we've watched, and that tells me a lot about him as a person. So I think it's going to bring great competition for the lads.
So with regards to new potential signings, are you looking for bringing them in for a restart, or more than likely to building towards the next season?
It'll be for me now towards next season. It'll be very touch and go. I'll be surprised if the season continues, if I'm honest. All we can do is prepare, because obviously if we're preparing now, and obviously it does, obviously we're in good hands. But yeah, we're just getting the right people on board. Obviously we've identified a few already, as busy as people might say that is. All we can do is obviously prep for us and make sure that we've got the right people identified to come in and push the club on to bigger and better.
So with Dan Turner leaving, what are your plans to replace him if you are replacing him?
Deeks on that one.
Yeah, so obviously we'll have to look to get another wide man in a position where Turns plays. Like Keith said, we never stop really. We're always talking about potential targets. But on the Dan Turner one, listen, Dan didn't want to go. But it was an opportunity for Dan to go and play football in the league above. And listen, we don't want to stop anybody going to play football. It was a no-brainer all round that Dan can go and play football, and he's a big loss. He was a great kid since we've come in, as a professional, done everything by the book. Great kid, didn't want to lose him, but he's gone to go and play football. So we wish him all the best. If it doesn't work out, then he knows that obviously we'd love to have him back again. But we wish him to go on and get back in the league, which we believe that he can do. So yes, we are looking to replace him because we're going to need to, because we're a body down.
Yeah.
So if the season was to restart in whatever form that would be, so would we have a couple of another behind closed door games, or would you want more intense training sessions?
That'd be a good one for you, Jemiah, to be fair, with your background.
Yeah, to be fair, I think you're going to have to kind of get some sort of a mixture of both. The concept of going straight into friendlies, which in a nice possible way we've seen a lot of clubs do, for me just breeds injuries. It doesn't breed that process of cohesion and what we want, get the lads together, making sure they understand some of the things that we want them to do. Like we've spoken as a management and as a club in general about the things that we want to do moving forward. Especially the last couple of weeks, I think non-stop, as much as we've not been in football, we've got our own staff group and managers group, and we have been non-stop talking about what we want to do, how we want to do it. So I think those intense training sessions are going to be vital in a sense of the ability to build up fitness, the ability to build up match sharpness, get your body used to activity again. Some of these boys have been road running, for example, and that non-stop force on ankles, knees, Achilles, and then for us to go from there into get back into that concept of twisting and turning straight away, got to be really gradual with it. And these are some of the things that we're going to work with Eve and Nat physios to say, listen, what do you need from us as staff? What do you need from these lads to ease them in, but at the same time keep it at a high intensity? So it will be a mixture of both. I'm going to be honest with you.
So what is the view among your friends in non-league about the current situation? Where do they see it going?
It's kind of like a mixture, isn't there? Like,
yeah, I was going to say it's 50-50 down the middle, really.
Yeah, it's a weird one, I think, because obviously you can only waste so much energy speaking about it, because at the end of the day, people's health is very important, and that comes above football. So regardless of everyone's opinions, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, people's health is the most important thing. And once we get obviously that back up and running, then obviously we can crack on. So I've kind of distanced myself from a lot of the social media as such to kind of really take that in. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I think for me, you've hit it on the nail on the head, mate. You've just it's about health and safety, mate. First and foremost, we can't influence that, and we just have to make sure, like we said, that we're ready when we do get the nod. But listen, it's going to be what it's going to be, whether it's null and void, whether it's next season, whether it's in the autumn, whatever. We can't control that.
We can only be prepared. I think prepared for every eventuality, which we spoke about. Make sure we're prepared for every eventuality. And whatever happens. You say, understand the things that we can change, things we can't change, and move forward.
So where do you see us as a club in 3 to 5 years' time? Is Conference League football achievable based upon what is happening at the management board level at the club?
Definitely. I think at the moment we're doing a lot of, and this is where again we were saying control what you can control. And for us, we can do so much behind the scenes at the moment, in the sense of we're basically setting up like a club blueprint on what we're about, and what our values are, our core values, what our team values are, what our mission is, how we're going to go about and get success. And that has to be built into it behind the scenes, so you can see then on the field obviously that flourishing. So behind the scenes we're working very hard to to basically put them little 1% to push us on to the next level, and I'm sure that we will. So yeah, it's just working really hard, and for me, with the setup and with the management staff and the chairman and Terry and the players, I feel like we can go on and do some very, very good things. It's just making sure we got the right values and principles in place and the right characters in and around the club to push in that direction.
So are you able to operate to your maximum given any restrictions or financial constraints given to you by the board?
Oh, gosh.
That's a naughty one. That's a naughty one.
I think where we're at since we've come in, and listen, the chairman and the board have been superb. We believe in whatever budget we're given that we will be successful. So whether it's half budget, full budget, whatever it is, for whatever eventuality, where if the fans come in, if they don't come in, we will work with what we're given. So, and we still believe we will be successful in a way. So we just get on with it, and do what we do.
Yeah. I think targets always change as well. I think from what you said, like you said, whether it's budget or not, like obviously you adjust your targets around that. So whatever success looks like around that budget or that budget or that budget, you just rearrange, don't you, and stuff like that. So yeah,
I think you just hit the key on the name. I mean, the nail on the head there. Sorry, when you're saying success is whatever we want it to be, if that makes sense, or whatever our targets are. We're in an ever changing world in the sense of with COVID, we don't know what's going to happen when we do go back. But as long as we know, no matter what we're given, we're going to make the best out of that situation. And we can control what we do. I don't see why we can't be successful in any eventuality.
Now, here's some questions from the fans and from some people that you know in the game as well.
So they're the ones that we know.
Mate, they're donuts, mate. Some silly people.
Go on, let's reel them out.
This question, this is the first of two questions from Pitman Private. He asks, or she, we have seen players come and go, as will always be the case. However, has the management had any approaches from other clubs? And what would make you all stay with the Pitmen if and when they do come?
Yeah, well, I think maybe Deeksy, I think you can
That's all Deeks. That's all you, mate. All you, that is Deeks.
No, so last week, out of the blue, to be fair, I was approached by a conference national team. But just going into everything, and since I've walked through the door, I just felt that it wasn't the right time and the right club and to move on, to be fair. And I think, like, since we've come in, not just as a working place, but I've made great friends in terms of the chairman and Terry, and I love being here. So for me, yes, I was approached, but really thinking about it deep down, there was no intention of me to leave and jump ship. Not so. I think I'd have gone with unfinished business, to be fair, after only been here a short time. So for me, I want to stay here and build with Keenen and Jemiah and the management team. So I'm happy where I am and ain't going anywhere.
Solidified, I like that.
The next question from Pitman Private. He asks, what do you feel is done differently behind the scenes at board level compared to what you've seen or experienced at other clubs?
At board level?
Yeah.
Cool. I could jump in here with one of these ones, because like playing and being in, and this is no disrespect to any other chairman that I've been, I personally think it's the best club I've been involved with from top to bottom. And I think the key word is clarity. What they do is they're fair, but they're clear, they're concise. There's no concept where we don't know what's coming, we don't know how you're feeling when, and that's what I think we need. No matter what happens, we're always going to be honest, and that's as a management team, that's including chairman, Terry, from every member of the staff at the club. We're going to be honest, and we're going to filter that into the players. So I think if it starts from the top and they're honest with us, regardless whether we like it or not, which hasn't happened yet, we just, I think if we have that honesty from top, it'll just filter straight through, down through the club and into the players, into the academy boys, and everyone will then go to that mantra of one club, one badge, because everybody's got a clarity, everyone's going straight through, everyone understands the ethos of what we're trying to do.
This question comes from Peter. He asks, how confident are the team regarding finishing this season, or are you planning to get training and focus on next season? Needless to say, Keenen, I've been keeping in shape ready for the call-up.
Who's that?
Peter, a guy called Peter Harper.
I think it's is it Thomas Harper? I'm not sure. Yeah, listen, we can't. Well, we're in limbo, aren't we? So it's hard to really, until obviously the league say whatever, we can't really action anything. So yeah.
I will say all the lads I've spoken to, they are ticking over.
Yeah.
They are trying to keep themselves in as best shape possible. I got a video from Flan yesterday. He went to go to the track. The track was short. He had to do hill sprints up some dodgy alley in Chelmsley Wood, but he got them done. And we've been talking quite a bit about some of the things he can do. And I think as long as these boys understand they've got to keep themselves ticking over, when we do have a date, we can then start putting things in place to really push on.
Next question comes from Ian. He asks, what are the chances of bringing in a former league player?
A former league player?
Yeah.
Well, we've got one at the moment, and maybe Dodsley.
Dodsley, hasn't he?
Yeah, Dodsley's played.
Yeah, with that, with recruitment, like we've always said, it has to be the right type of person. You could have somebody who's played in the league 300 times, but if they're not the right character and the right person, and they don't believe in the right things and the same morals and the values that we have, there'll be no use anyway. So listen, we're very thorough in the players that we recruit. We do background checks, asking loads of different opinions. We watch loads of games. We don't just sign somebody after watching them for 45 minutes or 90 minutes. So they have to be the right type of person, whether they've played in the league, whether they're playing at step 7, whatever it is. We have to believe that they're the right person, not only to play for the club, but to be good in the dressing room that we've got at the moment.
Yeah, and a big thing as well is I've noticed a lot is when you've played in the league, the lower you come, the harder it is. Definitely. Because the tempo is different, people are maybe not on the same wavelength, so it is hard. That's why for me, Dodsley, hats off, he's been unbelievable, by the way, since we've been in, because he can just adapt to situations, whether it's on the ball or off the ball. So it is hard coming from league and down the league, because like I said, players are not as smart, do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's got to be the right person coming in.
Andy Wycherley asks, who's the funniest?
Not Andy. Not Andy.
Well, in terms of management players?
The management, I think he's...
Oh, no, Deeksy. Yeah, Deeksy, 100%. 100% Deeksy.
I'm just a liability. I'm not funny. I'm just a liability.
Triple A.
You know what? It's funny. It's funny for us though, because he's a liability. It's funny for us to watch. It's amazing.
Players wise, who would you say players? Who's got a bit of banter?
Oh, a bit of banter.
Would you say Dwyer maybe?
No, that's a good one.
I think his dress sense is. I think his dress sense funny. I think his dress sense is rascal.
Who else? I'd probably just say maybe.
Now, Flan's got a bit about him, to be fair. Flan's got a bit about him.
What about Andy himself?
He tries, man.
Banter's horrendous. Dead banter.
Tries too hard, mate. To be fair, Jack was funny today in the group chat. Jack was funny today. Come out with a one-liner that I think made everybody laugh, to be fair.
So, Keenen, this is a question for you. It comes from Paul. He asks, to Keenen, what other coach or manager do you most admire and try to copy? And what's the chance of keeping the squad together as recently lost Dan Turner? Good luck for the future.
For me, big influence. I'd never say I try to copy people. I try and take bits and pieces from everyone and then think, how would I like to do things and how would it work for our principles and our values. So, but Pep's a massive one because I think he just thinks outside the box. As you can see, with his teams at the moment, they ain't played with a number 9 for about 5-6 weeks and have absolutely battered everyone. Regarding keeping the team together, listen, we'll do what we can. We believe that we will. Just because, again, the one big thing for us, it's not about them as players, it's about them as people. And we feel like we've got that that good connection where it's person first, player second. Like, you need to really make sure that you work with them emotionally and them as a person before you work with them as a player. And we feel like as a management team, that's one thing that we try and do really well. So yeah, we're pretty certain that we'll keep the majority of the lads on, definitely.
Sam asks, who's winning the goalkeeper war, me or Andy?
Sam Wollaston,
Yeah.
something to Bora.
How would the young kid that's far from you?
Sam Wollaston. Nah, to be fair, Sam. So a lot of the fans obviously haven't saw Sam, but Sam is a very, very good keeper. That's with our scholarship in our academy. So he played twice, I think, in December, and he's a very, very good goalkeeper. He went on trial at Walsall recently, played with their 23s against Burton and Preston. So he's definitely one to look out for in the future.
And he must be sweating now, you know. Now you've talked Sam like that, he must be sweating.
A question from former manager Neil Tooth. He asks, can Kieran Wells please come back? He's too scared to ask directly, and it's not fair to get Eve to ask.
He's quite good. Next question.
Next one. Pass on that.
Matt Clark, he asks, hi guys, is it true that Graham Deakin wrestles on the underground UK circuit and wrestling is going to form part of pre-season training for the Pitmen?
Listen, you know, Clarky never stops. Clarky never has a day off. But I'll tell you, Dan, where that comes from. So I played with Clarky 12 years ago, good friend. I was like 21, scrawny, 11 stone. He must have been about 47 then. I'm going back 12 years ago. He was like 15 stone, 16 stone in his prime. And we used to have boxing matches in the changing room and wrestling matches. And listen, I used to make him tap out. He had a couple of tears a couple of times. And so that's where that comes from with Clarky. But listen, I don't think we'd get away with it now in this day and age in the dressing room. But so it won't be part of our plans. But that's where that story comes from.
So Keenen, what's the latest with the academy? What they've been doing during lockdown?
Yeah, good. So you know what? Hats off. They've been unbelievable, our academy boys. So basically what we've had to do is move everything online. So basically like Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays is their physical activity day. So like on Monday it could be football fitness for 30 minutes on Zoom. So Carter obviously takes that session and then I'll do the physical stuff. So they'll be putting like a challenge after that. They've got to, let's say, do so many reps in 10 minutes. And then Wednesdays, the same again. But what they'll do Wednesdays after their football fitness, they'll do an analysis. So they've been watching some of the first team games. So it'll be like, what do we look like in this half? What do we look like in that half? What can we do better? What are our patterns like? So they've really, really been engaged again in a tough time. But again, what we're trying to drill home to them is that their health and well-being is more important at the moment than football, because you know, last thing you want to be doing is in lockdown just on your computer studying and you're not doing no activities. So we've got to keep the brain obviously ticking and them endorphins flowing. So they've been tremendous, mate.
What you've been reading, mate? Endorphins. You're right.
Listen, a big word from you, son.
That's a big word.
What you been reading?
You
weren't saying that 10 years ago when you was living in Canada, son.
Good, mate, you're not seeing them. You're not seeing them books behind him. That's what it is. You know, it's that library behind him.
Studying.
So thank you guys for taking the time to do this. See you soon.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Take care.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.